I personally enjoyed my experiences on MSC. I mean, with a few caveats, of course, nothing is perfect after all. I want to share that experience with you on the MSC Seashore. MSC is a relatively new cruise line, having started operations in like 1988. Before that, they were famous for being a shipping company. For that reason, MSC has developed an interesting reputation in the cruise community. Where shall we go on this 44 Unbound journey? Going up to the parking for MSC Terminal in Port Canaveral, there were a lot of cars lined up to go ahead and park. One thing I learned after the fact is if you're going to drop off your luggage, MSC actually allows you to do that from within the parking garage. So as you go into the parking garage, you drive around, there's an option to stop or pull off to the side, drop your luggage off, begin that check-in process before going to park. So in my case, I ended up losing about 20 minutes because I ran up to the curb first, dropped the luggage, rejoined the very long parking line to get on the cruise ship. It felt very chaotic to begin. Granted, at first, there was a bit of like sensory overload. You felt like, oh wow, this is going to take forever. Although there were lots of people to get on elevators in the parking garage, lots of people to go to check-in, and then you go to the second level to go through security and do those other check-in elements. It just always seemed like there was a large collection of people. However, everywhere you went, those lines always moved. They always moved steadily along. That even though you felt in the back of your mind, oh, this is going to take forever, it did not. Boarding the MSC Seashore was very festive. There's something about going on cruises that just seem to put people at ease. Everybody was happy, seemingly enjoying themselves. Here you had to check in for your muster station. Coincidentally, my muster station was only a few steps away, so I managed to get that piece of business handled right away.
I was waving in your video.
Oh yeah? All right. The MSC Seashore, like many other cruise ships today, use logic when it comes to calling elevators. So it wants to know first what floor you're going on, and then it will tell you, supposedly based on the numbers of people that have called that elevator, the numbers of people going from or going to a particular floor. And this was one place where the MSC Seashore seemingly sort of failed. I did not think that the logic was either well designed or maybe this ship is not a good candidate for that sort of logic. The waits for elevators were very, very long.
9, car D.
Called an elevator would say, go to A, B, C, or D. Car will be here in 2 minutes. Check again, and it would say 4 minutes. And you check again, and it might say 30 seconds. We're gonna try climbing. Let's see how that goes. Once the elevator finally arrived, in many cases, it was absolutely full of people, and there were a large number of people waiting to get on the elevator. Oh wow! Look at this. This is 9138 on the MSC Seashore. So we'll go out there later. Sure.
They gave you slippers and robes?
One thing I noticed immediately about the MSC Seashore is that the bathroom was very small. The toilet was kind of moved at an angle. The shower was very small. Granted, it did have a glass separator, so that's always good. If you've ever been on a ship that had a curtain back in the day, that weird curtain that touches you and the water is very hot, but that curtain is always cold. You didn't have to worry about that here. Wireless balcony cabin. One thing that might be particularly jarring for a lot of people is that on deck 8, there is an outside sort of smoking area and bar, coffee shop bar, where lots of people kind of sit and talk. And you walk on that balcony and you look down, and the first thing you notice is there are people directly one deck beneath you. For a lot of people, that's kind of like an absolute no-no. You want to have this separation, like you feel like you're on your balcony, this private space where it's just you and the ocean. This was a little different. I mean, it was manageable, but you might want to keep that in mind. You go on that balcony as well. In some cases, you would smell smoke. That smell is not very overpowering, but it is unmistakable. That cigarette smoke kind of wafts up from that 8th deck. But I do believe that even on the higher deck balconies, you can look down and there you can still see people kind of on that outdoor space, that outdoor area on deck 8 that wraps all around the entire ship. The MSC Seashore was delivered to MSC in 2021. It feels like the design in some cases is a bit confusing. It's not super duper intuitive how to get around the ship. A lot of the seashore spaces are interior, so you really don't know where you are. There's not a strong indication of what direction you're going. You don't know what's aft, what's forward, that sort of thing. And 3 days is a very short time to get very comfortable with the ship itself.
Push back. You're going to give it your best jump forward. And you're going to walk like it's 20, 10. 5, 6, 7, 8.
My very first MSC cruise, I got the drink package. Putting it kindly, it was almost impossible to get a drink. It was very, very difficult. There weren't a lot of people there taking orders. You'd have to go to the bar, sort of cut in line, wave your arms frantically to get attention. This time, completely and totally different. I'm sure that MSC heard the complaints. They seem to have really remedied that concern. On a short 3-day Caribbean cruise, the people with the drink package will probably be drinking excessively. There was never an indication that they ran out of anything. There was never an indication to me that they were trying to avoid anybody. There were lots of bars that were like wide open. I don't know how many bars this ship has, but there was always a place to get a drink. At dinner, if you wanted to order something from the bar, somebody would come from the bar, a waiter, one of the bar staff would come over and take your order. So they really, really got to the bottom of that. Another thing MSC really improved on was the food. It's very similar to any other mainline cruise line. Very similar in quality. The portion sizes and the quality of ingredients is about the same as you could find anywhere. The dining room felt really, really overloaded, almost like they added as many tables as was humanly possible. Granted, they had appropriate staffing, but it just still felt like a lot of people sort of crammed together. The wait wasn't unreasonably long or anything like that, but it did feel like there were a lot of people. People were waving those handkerchiefs around on the last night, and the person seated behind me at another table, her handkerchiefs kept hitting me because she was right there, right next to me. We were all having fun, but that's one thing to keep in mind there. All told, it was a lot of fun. I will say that 3 days for me was not enough to see the ship. And in those 3 days, it went to 2 ports. So you set sail, you arrived at port number 1, you left, you arrived at port number 2, and then the next day you were back sort of where you started. So there didn't give a whole lot of time for exploration, but that's okay. I enjoyed it nonetheless. I am embarrassed to admit that I only got to see maybe 20% of the public areas on the ship. Parts I did see, similar look and feel of any other cruise. You know, it's designed to sort of draw you in, bright colors, warm lighting, quiet places, that sort of thing. What do you think? Is 3 days too short for a cruise? Is it too long, much too short? Should there be a law that says cruises should be a minimum of 5 days? Controversial, I know. But would you do it? Have you done it before? Thanks so much for coming along to the MSC Seashore. Until next time, stay grounded, stay grateful, and go everywhere.